Councilmember McCune that Council direct staff to explore means whereby the city can best protect the safety of Village Trailer Park residents and of the existing affordable housing, and assure that all of the city's new options with respect to various ongoing processes are preserved. And an information, I'm sorry, related information report, and you have...
Now we're on 5A.
And for that, you have 17 requests to speak.
Thank you. Mr. McKeown.
Well, this is the fourth time that this has been before us. I originally attempted a direction many meetings ago, so I think I owe you and the community a brief explanation of why I've persevered on this and what I'm really asking for. Since I first made the request, staff has provided us with an information report that essentially answers the question about the ongoing processes of landmarking and the environmental impact report. The option that is clearly left to us, and it's an option of last resort, but that's where we are at this point, would be acquisition of the property. So I want to be very specific that that really is what we're going to probably be talking about tonight. Why would we want to do that? Well, this is the only parcel of land that I know of that the land use and circulation element rezoned from residential to something greater and able to be developed in a different way. And that rezoning was hotly debated as we adopted the LUCE. A number of members of the public came and supported efforts to save Village Trailer Park by negotiating a master plan with the adjacent properties. As we on the council know, because we were privy to what went on, that didn't work out. Village Trailer Park is our city's last independent opportunity for affordable ownership and rental housing. Mobile home parks are a combination of ownership and rental, and there are vacant pads in the lot now, and my understanding is there are people who have asked to move in. So this could be a viable mobile home park going forward. The current residents who remain are mostly frail seniors, and they've told us they want to stay. For many of them, moving would be extraordinarily difficult because of their age and the length of time they've been there. Further, if the residents lose the spaces on which they're parked, they lose the equity that they've accumulated in their trailer, because the trailer or mobile home has little worth without the rent-controlled land on which it sits here in Santa Monica. And let me again point out that these are people who are under rent control because the land is rent controlled. They rent the pads, they own the homes. Many of the people want to keep their lifestyle. They really don't want to move into apartments or into subsidized housing of any kind. They want to be independent and live as they do. The developer, as I understand it, represents a minority owner of the land. There is a majority owner who I've been told might be a willing seller. Staff has calculated the value of the land in the information item they gave us, but they did so, I think, perhaps based on the assumption that the development agreement that's been applied for would be approved, even though it's still in the draft environmental impact report stage. And well, the council did agree 5 years ago to talk about a development agreement as a way to keep these residents in their homes for the time being and avoid what at that point would have been immediate evictions. We have not guaranteed the developer an approved development agreement on this property. The cash involved is daunting, but we also, as a city, own land elsewhere in the city. We might be able to swap for other land the city already owns that we've been land banking, and that other land might be places where the development would not displace existing residents. We have a long history in the city of fighting the good fight to retain existing affordable housing and protect residents. And here we have an instance where we have vulnerable seniors who will be displaced by this development if we don't intervene. Now, we may or may not be successful in acquiring the land, but I've been told by staff that for them to investigate the possibility, they need to have a direction from the council as the governing body of the city. Staff can't go ahead and begin that without our giving some direction. So at the conclusion of the public testimony tonight, I will be asking that we give that direction and move into the question of whether we can acquire this property.
All right, we'll open the public hearing. And we'll begin with Jack Waddington, followed by David Latham, Nancy Morse, Cosmo Bua. Welcome, sir.
My name is Jack Waddington from Village Trailer Park, and I wish to agree with everything you said. I have 5 points which more or less agree with it. Village Trailer Park is a refreshing site with trees, open skies, and low trailers. It is a valued site by both residents and other local people in the area. 3, whilst the City Housing Authority is attempting to find affordable housing in the city, why is the developer attempting to cash in on this beautiful historic site with 109 spaces for very affordable housing, with another uninspired mixed-use condominium block blocking the open relief to Colorado Avenue? If this is allowed to go through, residents, mainly senior citizens, myself included, will be put out on the streets in spite of the promise of the developer. Should it be built, I conjecture it will be a white elephant, benefiting only a developer. I plead with you, council members, to not let this development go through. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. David Latham.
Good evening, council members. David Latham, Village Trailer Park. I gave you a copy of this piece I wrote today about the history of the park, basically, because in the last couple of weeks I've seen that a lot of people don't know. Can't hear me? Sorry.
Perfect.
Start over?
Well, we could barely hear you. So I think, is everybody okay? Did everybody hear what was said so far? So please go ahead. You'll be louder now.
This is sort of a history of what happened in the park over the last 20 years, because I noticed at the Landmark Commission they didn't know. So I haven't got time to read it all. I wanted to read it into the record, but you have it anyway. But what I wanted to talk about was, it seems like because the zoning ordinance hasn't fully passed, the update of it hasn't passed by Luce, that this property owner is given a pass on zoning. He's allowed to try to develop his plan on the property without having it properly zoned, and that's just plain not fair. 2, we don't have a 20-year plan that's completed, so we don't have a situation where we know what's going to be developed in the next 20 years and what are the limits on it. And so I thought here, in that context, I think we should defer this entire matter until the next 20-year plan is completed, and in that, until specific zoning plans for the next 2 decades are precisely laid down in the city. Only then will we have the clearest possible picture of where things are going to be developed. Until then, this developer has a chance to put an eyesore in a neighborhood that shouldn't be zoned that way. So we're the carts before the horse. That's pretty much it.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Our next speaker is Nancy Morse.
Hi, I'm Nancy Morse. I live on Princeton. And I urge you to pass this, as there are many things that need to be considered on this project, such as the displacement of home ownership. We need to allow the Landmarks Commission to look at the landmark status, and the city needs the time to look for purchasing the property and the compliance with the Luce in terms of the plan for the area and the preservation of neighborhoods, as that is what this is. And compliance with city values, because the trailer park is affordable housing, open space, an established urban forest with old-growth canopy, and community, which are values the city has. The Village Trailer Park is Santa Monica heritage, its history, a museum, and an oasis in look-alike development. It is home to humans, birds, plants, nature. This is a unique living community and should be a source of pride for this city. And once gone, it cannot be replaced. Thank you.